because they are our father, they have done this, and they have done this and this and this. We need to remove that mind. Uncle Mamba, today I vowed and I cried. The problem of men of Zambia is that one thing is that they are fear, and the second thing is that some of certain men of God, they love the men of God, they love money. In this nation, they want to know what reconciliation and what. How can you allow a reconciliation yet a man does not equally reconcile?
Thank you very much. Callers, as you can see, I've got Dr. Brian Sampa is about to join me briefly. Those that are calling, just give us a few minutes to allow Dr. Brian Sampa to make contributions. He has just joined us, left the hospital, and he has just found a moment to contribute. You know, he's a valuable partner on this program. So all callers, just let's give a few minutes to my dear brother, Brian Sampa, to make his contribution. Mr. Sampa, good day, and how are you?
I'm okay. How are you, Ambassador?
I'm not okay. I'm not okay. The burden of the nation appears to be on my shoulders, even when I have to summon courage just to come and sit here for 2 to 3 hours. But it is well. The Lord is strengthening us, and the Lord will keep us well. Make your contribution.
You're right. Yes, Ambassador. So I want to talk about the situation in our country, which is unfolding. So as people have seen, we are at a stage where now this kind of dictatorship is now full-blown. Now, this is a danger because, Ambassador, what we saw today, where all the courts across the country were barricaded by the police and the military, and for some reason, they are giving a flimsy reason saying that, no, it's because there is a security situation. But if you've been following the trend of things, even during the time of elections, there was a time when they paused the elections. They said the counting was paused, or because they said there was a security situation. Now, because of the dictatorial tendencies, which we now are calling a full-blown dictatorship, because it's like somebody's showing signs and symptoms of malaria. Now, after you've made the full diagnosis that this is malaria, this is the point we are at. There were signs and symptoms earlier. And those signs, they showed that we were about to have a dictatorship. Now we should just be working with this dictatorship and knowing altogether that we are dealing with a dictatorship. So, Ambassador, what concerned me the most was the fact that they wanted to justify that the closure of the courts is because there was a security concern. Now, if at all there was a security concern, how can that security concern be in all the courts in the country? And how can that security concern all of a sudden lead to the closure of all the courts in the country? Why didn't they just prepare enough security to prevent whatever breach was going to happen? But the problem is, they have already run with this story of a militia. And because in a dictatorship, you create an enemy, so they have created a militia, and yet the government wants to come out as the savior of the people. So they will continue running with this narrative, and they are yet to do even worse. Now, why is it difficult, and why are we supposed to be opposed to dictatorship? Number one, we need to remember that dictators are paranoid. And understand that right now, Hakainde is very paranoid, and every time he's moving, he doesn't know what can hit him, he doesn't know who can betray him. He didn't want to give not even a slight chance of taking the case to court because he doesn't trust the judges. He thinks that maybe one judge may become reasonable enough because of the enormous evidence that we have. He was scared that maybe a judge can move and flip against him. As a result, he didn't want that to happen. Secondly, in a dictatorship, what we will see now is that the coming budget, for instance, the security wings are the beneficiaries of a dictatorship, not the ordinary Zambians, because this man will make sure that he protects himself at all costs at the expense of democracy. That's why dictatorship should be shunned by all well-meaning Zambians, because we can't develop as a country with a dictatorship. His preoccupation will be how to protect himself. Because in the past, up to 2021, when ECO was there, presidents were very safe in Zambia. ECO would even walk in town. because nobody really would do any harm to them. But when you are a dictator, you stifle the rights of the people. People have got no way of venting. As we are speaking, people cannot go to court and air out their complaints. People can go to a police and expect full and the free and fair kind of judgment. No one is going to treat them fairly unless they belong to the UPND. So if people are not allowed to vent, then people resort to other measures of venting. That's why dictators always know that there is always an impending danger on their life. Now, because of that, they become paranoid and they start spending enormous amounts of money at the expense of democracy. They will spend a lot of money trying to defend themselves and protect themselves. The other sector that we will see benefiting so much in dictatorship is the media, because most of the media houses right now are under payroll by this dictatorship. They will make sure they do that. But I want to encourage the Zambians that there are so many ways we can fight this dictatorship, because despite them enormously paying the media and having all those desensitized followers, at this point in time, even to support UPND is becoming something abnormal. I was speaking to one of my colleagues, a psychiatrist. We were analyzing the situation that has been happening. And for sure, we can see that it's becoming an abnormality. Even when you look at people who are supporting Hakainde, Hakainde can do anything that he wants. And these people are going to come out and still defend. It is very disheartening to see them even trivialize the death of Mutotwe Kafwaya. They are even trivializing the shots that were fired where Mundubile had to survive. Can you believe, Ambassador, that others are even appreciating the fact that the courts have been closed? They are so happy, jubilating. But this is what dictatorship does. If Satan can have followers, who is a dictator not to have followers? But just by merely having followers, it doesn't make you a right person. And we can see, if Hakainde indeed won the election and is a Democrat who he pretended to be in 2021, we wouldn't have a country without courts. Now, a country without courts still has got somebody making the laws. But right now, the law and order is Hakainde. That's why we've seen that even these organizations, I really want to be categorical. Most of these people you've seen, some lawyers, some organizations coming out like they are blaming. Like one of these, there's somebody who posted, a well-known human rights activist who comes out and says, oh, Mr. President, you know, we need to give an explanation to the country for the closure of the courts. Nobody needs an explanation because there is no need to close the courts. There is nowhere in the world where the courts have ever been closed. So we are not asking for an explanation. When you hear someone saying, you need to explain to us, just know that they are working with Hakainde. And that's how it is in dictatorship. They still retain certain people who are supposed to be pretending to be activists, human rights observers, and all that. Meanwhile, what they are doing is trying to dampen the mood. We even have some lawyers who pretend to be human rights activists in dictatorships. But meanwhile, all they are doing is they're just trying to sound like they're part of the people, so that when they change, people are going to say, oh, even this reputable person has agreed that things are okay. So we need to discern these things and avoid looking up to these people. We've got a lot of people right now who are in hiding. People are running away, and we've got a lot of things that are happening behind closed doors. But what we will see, if this is not fought well, we need to know that democracy died the day that these elections were held. The moment Mundubile ran away, the moment that they killed Mutotwe Kafwaya, that's the day that democracy went. So if we are going to handle this situation like it's a democracy, then we are wrong. We are no longer in a democracy.
There is a heat wave where he is, and being a doctor, maybe his phone is not fully charged, you know, he just came to quite quickly contribute. Let me see if I can get him again, but that's Dr. Sampa making the contribution.
Nous viens de pas social. masoja ya muenela. They aimed at his life. Kaili mavoti yevebana mubela. Mavoto alipela mundubile. But my results need different story. He stole his vote. We are now a military state. Who will speak for the people? Now that Kafwaya Mwapaya, if votes are stolen, then what is the purpose of elections? Democracy is dying. Mutotweba Kaya, tell me who pulled the trigger. Another 2 man in done.
It looks like Doc is back. Doc, continue with your thoughts.
Yes, Ambassador, my apologies. So the thing is that when you look at what is happening in our country, people need to open up their eyes that as long as we've got a dictator in office, dictators will always galvanize around themselves because they are always in danger of being removed. And as a result, every arm of the government is controlled by them, and they make sure they put loyalists. Look at Mumbamalila. People were thinking that he was a very upright man who was going to make sure that judiciary was upright. But when you look at what he is doing exactly what the dictator wants. The same thing that we saw with National Assembly. When you saw what was happening to Parliament, the moment that they removed Boma and Lusambo, the moment that they removed Malanji, that's the time we should have acted. Because now that same thing has continued as we are talking now. He controls the media, he controls the executive, he controls also the military, he's controlling everything. And as we are going, you will see that most of the people, including the people, Ambassador was disturbed yesterday. One of the people who even went to see Chester and IDC, the loyalists to this government, they came back laughing. They were recording themselves laughing at Chester and IDC. You can't trust anyone this time, especially supporters of the government, because those people, some of them are just coming to get information. And that's what happens in a dictatorship. In a dictatorship, there's a lot of betrayal. A lot of times, people are only loyal to the government and they don't care what happens. Even their supporters, one of their supporters here posted on Facebook and said that, they need to give people a chance. There's a man, I don't know if his name is Akashambat or something. He posted that it's not a good thing that people are not given a chance to file in court and all that. When he sounded reasonable, he was still being attacked by the members of his party, because that is how a dictatorship is. It's either you follow what they are doing or not. There is no reasoning involved. But we can't go on like this. Zambia has always been a beacon of peace. And because Zambians are peaceful people, this is why it's very easy for a dictatorship to flourish, because no one is fighting them. No one is trying to do anything about it. The people who are talking, but organizations and others, they are all folding their hands because either they are eating with them or they are just afraid. I saw the union, the judiciary union, the one Mr. Mwale spoke about why it was the right thing to do. First, to start with, it is so wrong for a union to even come and side with the government and say it's okay to close the courts. But that is what dictatorships do. Dictatorships are always justifying, and they'll always find somebody among the people to justify their action. So when I saw Mr. Mwale there, this is the second time I'm seeing Mr. Mwale, because I remember Mr. Mwale and I, at one time, there was that time when we were dealing with the sensitization about alcohol and all that. That's the first time I met Mr. Mwale. But I couldn't even believe that Mr. Mwale was part of the union. But later when I learned that, he is the same person, Mr. Mwale, who is now the union president for the judiciary. But the way he was talking today, he spoke exactly what the government wanted to say. That's what happened. So people have changed. A lot of people are trying to survive. And the thing with the dictatorship is that they dish out money. Sometimes they coerce people, sometimes they dish out money. So we should be very careful. None of these people you are seeing who are supporting are actually supporting because they love Hakainde. Most of them are either surviving or they are benefiting directly. They have got instant gratification. That's why this is happening. If things were to change tomorrow, They will be the best source of information. They will tell you everything that was happening during this dictatorship. But this is very dangerous to our children and our future as a country. That's why, as Zambians, please, let's hold our hands together. This is not the time to look at which opposition party somebody belongs to. In fact, this is where we will see who a leader is and who a leader is not. Because there is no way you can even fold your hands as an opposition. You were aspiring for candidacy to be president, and then you see that the same things that allowed you to flourish during the other governments are being taken away, but you still clapping. Then that means you are a very selfish individual. If you are an opposition leader right now and you can't speak for Mundubile, you can't speak for the Zambian people. If you want not to speak for Mundubile, that's up to you. But you can't still ignore what the Zambians are calling for. It's time to speak out, and action is needed, Ambassador. The thing is that dictatorships don't always listen to the voice, because what happens in dictatorships is that they flood the media. And you've seen how much you are trying, how we are trying, but the media is flooded by a lot of wrong information. But it's up to each and every Zambian to be resisting this dictatorship, because if it is not resisted, let me give just a grim picture of what is happening right now. Already the military in Zambia, who we never got used to seeing, are now all over in the country. They are moving in markets, they are moving in compounds. The military have already tested the power. Haka India has given the military also the financial muscle. Now the military are running businesses. They are running mines, and they are also running milling plants. And now he's giving them a lot of contracts. They're making money. Some of the money which is being siphoned is through the military, because much of the military budget is hidden. So they know how they are stealing the money. Now, when the military tests that kind of power, it becomes very difficult. And when you mix the military with the civilians, the military already know that by virtue of their training, they are superior when it comes to force. So if you put such people in front, the next thing is intimidation. And that's why we can see that a lot of people are being intimidated. There is a funny story, Ambassador, which happened today. One person who is a very staunch Tonse supporter was approached by one of the relatives, because apparently the UPND followed that relative and said, go and talk to him to withdraw from Tonse. I won't disclose their name. They wanted him to withdraw from the Tonse Alliance. The person refused. Can you imagine that they went and approached the wife that you should divorce him if he doesn't withdraw? The wife had to threaten to divorce the guy if he didn't withdraw from Tonse Alliance. So we had to sit down and try to talk to him and the wife to just encourage him. That is how desperate these people have become. They are using any means necessary. And by any means necessary, they will be able to do whatever they want. So Zambians need to be careful. And I want to just advise those people who have got friends who are in UPND. You need to be careful of what you say in front of these people, because don't trust them so much. They will be the ones snitching. They will be the ones going to tell this government. So Zambians, I think I would buy into what the other caller said. There is that caller who said, if the day comes, the day of inauguration, then let the people put on something to show that there is dissent. Like if people can wear black and show that they are not agreeing to what is happening and they are mourning Mutotwe Kafwaya, I think that will be very helpful, because it's peaceful. You are not causing any trouble. You are not breaking anything. You are not causing any noise. You are just putting on black to show that it's a mourning period, and indeed there is nothing good that is happening in our country, because we've lost democracy and we need to fight this, Ambassador. And I appreciate you for the job that you are doing and everyone who is involved.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, and thank you for your comments, and thank you for your encouragement. Callers, we'll take the last few calls, and we close on top of the hour. Thank you very much. Doc, I'll let you go.
Thank you so much, Ambassador.
Yes, okay. So you asked me how I am, and you asked me whether the closure of the courts is the democracy that we want. And in response to your question, I can say this, that I am not well. I cannot be well under these circumstances that we are seeing and what we've been seeing in the last few days and maybe a week now. As to the question of is this the democracy that we want? Honestly speaking, I do not know of any democratic system in which the premises upon which this cannot be regarded to be a democracy. Because I don't know anywhere else where they close the premises of the Constitutional Court or any court when it is well known that a petition was going to be filed on what we regarded to be a last day for filing in of a petition after a major presidential and general election. This
enough is enough. What President HH has done to us, enough is enough. He has stolen the elections, and that is clear. So now it's time to go out in the street. I'm speaking from a point of view of a woman. So there's nothing we can do about it. We cannot leave this ball for you alone to fight or for our leaders alone to fight. So let's hold hands in every province. If it means protesting, we protest. Enough is enough. Hakainde Hichilema does not own this country. He was just born, just like any one of us. So he should not oppress us as Zambians. Enough is enough. I think we've tolerated more than enough. So let's hold hands as Zambians, and we wait to hear from our leaders. The way forward, we are ready to protest. That's my contribution. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello, Ramamba.
Yes, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yeah, this is Moa from Livingston.
Bamwewa from Livingston, make your contribution.
Thank you so much. Ramamba, we are at a very difficult stage as a country. Where our hopes, but they pass our hopes, yes. But could they hope in the Garungu? I the Garungu no Shatawako. Wakata hope my elections, Ruba Mundu na Makebi, my elections, Rasenda. Lelo, hope to watch what. Muma courts. Much of a hope you want to feel Karachalo. In a hope Muma courts retire one bed. So it's I don't know how long we are going to endure Ramwamba. In pain record committee. At this stage, Nachfina Ramwamba, Nachfina. I don't know what we must do. But again, on the other hand, Nachikunka Wilosana Nanka analysis here. When you had received the threats, you had to do an action, and you found yourself that side in the midst of prayer. Prayer therefore, but one thing that we Zambians must understand is that Naina Lesa Alpha Aba Alpha. Channels, you don't say narrowed it down. Any possible legal means that would enough can. I'm not saying people must be violent, but I think we have very few options now. We need to prepare ourselves for very, very, very peaceful protests, whereby we give respect to human rights and property. And then the other thing, remember, is that we are in this period, where we have even lost a former minister, Honorable Mutopeka Fire. Na issue, na mwe for the issue, where they have